Hello, my name is Marion Connett. I have been teaching in the Gilbert School District for 3 years. This will be going on my fourth year. But I have been in the education field since 2012. I have taught grades kindergarten through second, and next year I'll be teaching third, so it will be my first year in third. Now, I've been very passionate about many different things, but I think differentiating instruction for our students is very important. I know that we get overloaded with a lot of different ways to help students, but I think it's very important to identify what kind of instruction each kid needs, whether it be gifted or whether if they need a challenge or different ways and learning strategies of thinking, or if they need extra support in other areas. Now, in the past 12 years, I've learned that we are receiving an overwhelming amount of information, but we always have our students' best interests in mind. We want to be helpful to them. We want them to be successful, and I think that's something all of us can agree on, is that we want children to be successful and to be happy and want to learn. Here in Gilbert Public Schools, currently, we are giving the COGOT test in second grade, and I think this is great. I think this is a great opportunity for us to identify, but I do think that there are some steps we could do to help identify kids sooner. So I'll go into that. I think second grade is great, but I think we could even start identifying or helping children see different learning strategies at even younger ages. So step one, I would say provide teachers instruction. If you are teaching the younger grades, provide a class in how to look for or identify students that may have different learning needs. So if we have a student that is struggling, or they might have certain triggers that are overwhelming to them, we have to be able to understand that and not look at it as something bad. Maybe there's something else that they need to help them focus on, or to meet that need, so that they can focus on their what they're learning in class, or what activity they're doing. I think it would be important to assess them at a younger age. I also think it would be important for teachers that are switching from older grades to younger grades to be provided this instruction, or opportunities to be able to take a class from somebody that could provide many different strategies to help identify these kids. I also think that 2 sessions would be good, just as a start off, just so teachers are aware. I know when we come out of college, we kind of forget, and it's always good to be refreshed on keeping different things on our radar. So I think the first session would be to teach what kind of signs to look for. So if you see a kid that's irritable, or maybe somebody who isn't very good in math but excels in writing, or maybe they're more verbal, maybe they're better at doing things with fine motor. Being able to identify it, or to teach what signs to look for, and then to also give an assessment, what kinds of assessments that the district or the school would provide. So that way they'll know what to look for. Step 2, I would have parents and teachers survey students each year after the first quarter in kindergarten and first grade. And if preschool is available to do it, I would have them do it too. I would have them do a survey. Now the survey would ask, it's similar to like a 45-day screener, but it would be more geared towards how the student thinks as opposed to their behavior. I think this is important to help look for those students who are gifted and talented, and what kind of skills that they would have. It's always important to know what type of things your students are strong in and what they're weak in. think at the end of every quarter, because it does take a while to get to know a student, it's kind of hard to do it in just a week or two, or just one day of assessing them when they come in for like a kindergarten meetup. So after a quarter, the first quarter, first 45 days, I would have the teacher take surveys for each kid, and I would have the parent send home a survey for the parents. They could write what kind of things they do at home too, which is also important to know. And then the teachers will already know the students pretty well, so they'll be able to better judge how they're performing. Teachers should fill out observations for the students, especially if they think that there's something that they need to do for that child specifically that will challenge them. And I think we should all be able to find something in each kid to help challenge them so they don't get bored. Step number 3, I would have to administer a blanket COGAT test in 2nd grade, which Gilbert Public Schools already does. It's important to provide the testing as soon as it is funded by the state in 2nd grade. Students can be assessed and parents can be notified. I think the blanket test should be done after winter break. It should not be done during other big state tests. So usually our big state tests are happening at the end of the year in other grades. Like in 3rd grade, they have their big state tests that they take at the end of the year in other grade levels, but I think that it's too much going on in the whole school. So for the younger grades to assess this, because they don't have any big tests at the end of the year, they have their their benchmark testing, but for the gifted testing, I think it should be done right after winter break, so it's not so busy in the school with testing. I also think we should provide students and parents with information. I think more information the better. If they're able to help their kids at home with different strategies, or we could teach parents what they can do with their kids to help them, or that even if they're struggling in certain things, the things that we're doing here at school to help them, it will help the child overall. Teachers and students, parents need to be made aware of where they fall on the test. This is important so everyone knows what steps need to be taken and to challenge and assist the students. After we get the scores back, the gifted teacher and the teachers need to start making adjustments to work as needed with assistance from gifted specialists. Now, I know that we do this for our benchmark testing. We look over our scores and we change it, but it's always, not always, but most of the time we look at data with other people. We're only looking at the kids on the low part, and we want to look at all of the students. So I know that in my last year of teaching, I was really focused on trying to see everybody every day, whether it be for like 10 minutes or maybe even only 5, but just touching base with them. And if it was a student or a group of students that were already past the skill we were working on, I was working on other things to challenge them, to make them work to open their learning capabilities. So if I had a student that was already reading at grade level, I would push them with reading harder books, or I would ask them different types of questions that made them think, or have them create an alternative ending, just giving them other opportunities to show their work to me, so that way they didn't get bored with the other assignments. Students should be seeing the gifted specialist at least once a week to get familiar with them. Once they start third grade, they should be placed in accelerated class or with peers that have similar strengths. I know this is looked down upon, and in some cases I could see it. I think that it's important for parents and students to be able to have that option of being in an accelerated classroom, which I know that Gilbert Public Schools is getting much more, or providing much more accessibility to that, which I think is very important. I think it's important for the kids to have other kids with similar strengths so that they can work on it. Not a whole class of gifted in a general ed classroom, that's not what I mean, but I know that there needs to be different capability levels in every classroom, but I do think that it should be an option, and I think Gilbert Public Schools is doing a very good job of rolling that out. Gilbert schools could start with parent surveys in kindergarten and first grade. After that, we can look at how to offer challenging curriculum to our gifted students while in the general education classroom. I think if we keep our eyes open for all those students, I mean all of our students as a whole, I think we'll be finding out that many of our students have needs that need to be met, and if we can identify the kids that are gifted and exceptional learners, then we can really aid them in their education and for their future, for problem solving and being able to work through what they need in order to be successful. So thank you very much, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day.